Ruben. Congratulations. That was a massive win on the road in Europe. But what was your message to the players after the match?
I think they have to think about the second leg, and they have to think more about the first 20 minutes than the rest of the game, because the game is going to be really tough. There is no goals away, so anything can change, and that is my message to the players. And we have to think about now for Brentford and then for the second leg.
Rob?
I appreciate that you've got to be quite cautious because of the second game at Old Trafford, but is that the best performance, best result of your time in charge here?
No, I think it's the best result because nobody expects this result. But again, I think you saw two games today. The first 25 minutes and then after the goal, and also with the sent-off, the game changed. That was a good thing. Also a good thing in the second half, we tried to be cautious. We create chances, but the most important thing is that the opponent didn't get shots, many shots to our goal, and that was really important.
Thank you. Hi. I think it's often missed that it's actually quite a young squad that you've got. But tonight, I'm thinking Bruno Fernandes, Casemiro, Harry Maguire, there was huge performances from some of the more experienced players. How important was that tonight?
It's really important, and they have to step up in these moments. So they are experienced, they are international players, they already played these moments, so they have to step up in these moments. That's why they are playing here, and they are the most experienced players in this team. So I think that is natural.
Hi, Ruben. When your team play with such fluency like they did tonight, and the sort of fearlessness, how is it that they can lose almost half their games in the Premier League and then come out and put a performance on like that?
I think it's hard to explain. We improve in the last games. I don't look just to the results. We had some games that we won, that we didn't play well, and some games that we lost, but we played well. And sometimes you just need a little bit luck. If you imagine the first 30 minutes, they have chances to score. If they score, it's a different game. So we need to understand these moments. And when we score, we felt more free to play. So I know that is hard. It's a different competition. I know that is hard to understand, but sometimes it's the context, it's the way we see things. We can win this competition, and in Premier League we are just suffering after game. So and try to manage these both things with some injuries. Sometimes it's hard even for the players.
Yeah, hi Ruben. You talked about the first 30 minutes, and in that time Victor Lindelof made a really big goal line clearance. I mean, can you? How important was that? And for him personally, you know, he's obviously not been in the team all the season, maybe leaving in the summer. What kind of a moment was that for him?
Yeah, it's a moment, but we need to focus on the second leg, and then in the final, if we get there. Was a moment important for him, but also he is also an experienced player. He's fighting for the team, and these guys want to give something to our fans, because you can see every week, no matter what happened in Premier League, our fans, you feel always the support. So we want to give them something. So it was an important moment for him, but more important for the team.
Ruben, what can you say about Harry Maguire? He had a tough time before you came to the club, got himself back in the team, scored the winning goal against Lyon, and then plays an important part in the first goal tonight.
I think it's a good lesson for all the players, that sometimes you have some moments that you think that I will never recover from this or that. Anything can happen. And I think it's not just Harry. The history of this game can tell you that. It looks like really we are struggling a lot, and then everything changed, and everybody's going to say it was maybe the best game of the season. So we have to understand that the players have some moments in their life that they have to just to continue to work. Everything can change.
Good evening, Ruben. We ask you so much about Rasmus Højlund and the goals and the numbers, but tonight, what his contributions won't come up on the stats sheet. You know, he wins the penalty, he plays a part in the third goal. So how pleased are you for him? And can that be a sign that he can show that improvement and that will equate to goals eventually?
I think it's hard to say, but I think it was the best game that he had with me as a coach. He helped a lot the team. He secured the ball, and then he made the runs, and then decided quite well. So it's a good moment for him. But like Harry, he needs to understand everything can change. So let's focus on the next one. This is in the past. We have a tough job to do on Sunday and especially on Thursday.
Okay, that concludes the post-match press conference. We'll now take some questions to preview our Premier League game against Brentford on Sunday. These are embargoed until 1:30 p.m. tomorrow. Who'd like to start? Rob?
The results in the Europa League and the Premier League have been very, very different. Are the players able to kind of separate the momentum of those two competitions? Because presumably you're going to have to rest players again on Sunday. It may affect the result, but then you've got to kind of go again on Thursday. Are they able to separate these two competitions now?
In this moment, it's hard. It's hard to separate. We know that we have always a responsibility, but in this moment we have to take a risk. And there are some positions that we don't have more players. For example, Mazraoui cannot play. He's in the limit to get an injury. So we are going to deal with that and prepare a game against a team that they won today. Is in the great moment. And we have always a responsibility to perform. We have always a responsibility of the result. But in this moment, we have to be clear. Our focus is more on saving players and trying to be competitive. It's not a good thing to say, but we need to understand the context.
Just on Amad Diallo, obviously came on for the last 10 minutes tonight. How important do you think he could be for the rest of the season? And what's it been like managing him when he's been injured? Because he's obviously wants to be playing and he was in such good form before he got injured.
Yeah, it was really tough on us because in that moment he was the player that created all the situations and then pass a little bit for Bruno. So lose a player like that in that moment with a lot of games was really hard for us, and especially for Amad, because he was leaving a good moment. But now he's returning. You can feel that he is not so explosive in the moment, but he's a player with a characteristic left foot, different from Garnacho, that has 1-against-1. And we don't have many players to do that, so it's massive for us, and he's one more options to play.
Hi, Ruben. With you brought an expanded squad out ahead of training tomorrow. You've played some of the kids before. You plan to heavily rotate. I know you mentioned Nusair there. What's the thought process heading into this?
The first thing is that the players that are in risk to get injury will not play, no matter what. We need to take a risk in that. And then we are going to assess tomorrow and the next day who are the best players to start the game. Then we have to be careful because we are Manchester United and we cannot go to a game without thinking we can win this game. So the process is going to be like that. It's going to be tough, but we passed so many things this year. There's one more. Let's see.
Ruben, you said in March that you were learning how to use Casemiro more and more, and you really depended on him in this Europa League run. What have you learned so far using him, and is he someone you hope to work with going forward long term as well?
I think he's doing. He improved a lot also, and you can see not the way he plays, but the way he runs, and you can see it. We have the data to show he worked really hard. He's a very good example, but he was not playing. Even Toby sometimes was playing in front of him, and now it's hard to take Casemiro. So it's a lesson for all the players in Manchester United. No matter what is the past or the last month, everything can change in one moment. Then we understood that he cannot jump all the time pressing high. We need to let him to understand, and sometimes it's better to put 3 defenders and let him to be the 4th defender and put the wing backs pressing high. So these small things we are understanding, trying to cope with all the characteristics of the team. So, but the credit is for Casemiro.
Last question.
Hi, Ruben. You spoke just then about the difficulties the players face in switching between the Premier League and Europa League. But for you as a coach, what is the biggest difficulty for you, the biggest challenge, managing different competitions, one week to the next, knowing in the Premier League that you haven't really got anything to play for?
The hardest part is for the players. Some players understand that if you play on Sunday, you can play Thursday. That is the first point. It doesn't matter. Then we have to show the importance of every game in Manchester United. then every position that we have in Premier League, you win more money. So that's important. Then is you fighting for your proud. Of course, we don't have nothing to fight. We have this second leg really important for us. We know that, but we need to be competitive in every game.